Hi, and welcome back to the Narlee verse. So, I think in a couple of videos I had said something like, hey, it's gnarly and let's get weird or some stupid crap like that. I want to apologize for that. I had seen some other YouTubers' content, and I think I should have figured. Obviously, it had been done before, but I think I was playing Dead Island once, and I said it, and I liked it, and now that I've seen other people do it thereafter, though they probably did it before me, I'm feeling a little uncomfortable, so I want to apologize for that, and I'm not gonna say that anymore. It's lame and it's awkward, but anyway. Let's get to it. So it's been a little while since I made a video. I'm going to try actually to narrate this first. I've written down a couple of notes. Usually I do this unscripted, and I always plan to do it scripted, but this time I have a few notes. So hopefully I can follow some sort of something or other. Anyway, so the points that I want to get to, hopefully they will be conveyed in the way that I had imagined. It is at the moment 11:23. No, it's not. What am I talking about? It's much later than that. This clock is wrong. Anyway, the date is 12:12, and we all know my thing with numbers as of lately. It seems to be working for me. I actually enjoy scheduling my vlogs or my projects around certain dates. Sort of number magic, if you will. And so my new favorite word, I guess, will be narratives. And this word narratives, everybody's got to follow their narratives. You'll be hearing that word from me a lot, probably, thanks to Westworld. And I could not help myself any longer. My family had been watching Westworld, my uncle and my father, and I had heard quite a few conspiracies around it. And I knew it was going to be good. I knew from everything I was hearing it was going to be a very good show. As many of you know, when I talk about these things, it's a little different for me. I think a lot of people have given me shit for this in the past too. I think everybody just wants to assume that, this new world concept and this new age that we're moving into is going to be just all, dark and terrible, and there's plenty dark things in this matrix, and it does seem to be, I've said before, a bit of a dark matrix that we live in. But I'm gonna take a quote out of Westworld. This video is gonna be kind of revolved around a few things around Westworld and The Walking Dead, as I feel like I've waited long enough to make these points that I get excited about. But they open with Dolores saying a lot. Many people choose to see the ugliness in the world, and she chooses to see the beauty. She repeats this quite frequently around her each life that she lives. And I've always felt, when I heard that, I felt kind of strongly about that, because even though we can all very well see all the horrors of the world, it's kind of hard to avoid when our mainstream media is just shoving it down our throat, trying to give us a whole bunch of anxiety, and that is their goal, is the whole fear-mongering thing, to make us afraid and forget the beauties in the world, and that there is beautiful life in this world, and there is seemingly some sort of intelligent design, though I try to avoid I don't mind conversations around intelligent design. I really don't mind religious debates, but religion to me is ultimately shit. Even my own stuff, I actually enjoy talking about magic and witchcraft quite a bit, but ultimately it's all shit. But there does seem to be some sort of intelligent design if you are fascinated by sacred geometry, golden ratio, phi, Fibonacci spiral, all that good stuff. There's plenty of stuff around it. It seems to be pretty much trending the last few years. So if you feel interested by these things, you can start to recognize patterns, beautiful patterns, whether you choose to believe in God or religion or not. there does seem to be beautiful things in this world. So again, where was I getting with this? So I was watching Westworld quite a bit, and I had waited until it concluded. Actually, I watched the season finale first, and then worked my way back. And I knew it. I knew it was just gonna. Everybody was saying it was just absolutely saturated with symbology, and that of course got me excited. And I was finishing up The Walking Dead, and that was and they do this on purpose. It's everywhere. They don't. Their narrative. Here we go. Their narrative, the New World Order's narrative now, is not to hide it from you. For thousands of years, they've been hiding it. People have died over this. They. I believe it's Skull and Bones. I'm not sure how low of Freemason sects it is in their little hierarchies. I don't know. I don't want to give you any incorrect information, but there's one of them there. If they reveal certain secrets, their skull gets opened to the sunlight, and they whatever. So people have been tortured, tormented, scalped, killed in all sorts of horrible manners of ways, and over this information, but that's not the storyline. It's not the agenda anymore. The agenda is to open the goddamn floodgates, because once they started to see certain things leak, and it wasn't completely their intention to let all this out, I think that was kind of a combat move. They realized certain things were leaking out, and if you are interested in these things, again, if you're not interested in these things, don't bother. Go occupy yourself. So I'm doing this because I enjoy it. I'm not concerned. Oh yeah, that's what I was getting at. I might get a little shit for this, but the way I've looked at this, and I have gotten shit for this on some of my live streams and my chats, that I think the New World Order can be done in the right way. I'm not saying I agree with all of their methods. There is a lot of darkness surrounding this. A lot of people are correct about a lot of things, and the depopulation agenda around it is seemingly terrifying. Again, if you're into this sort of thing, and you have I believe it's the Secret Covenant. If you Google the Secret Covenant, it's not so secret anymore, and most people chalk it up to a fictional covenant. But if you read through this thing, it goes on and it talks about, we will poison their food, we will poison their medicine when they seek medicine for the poisoned food, and then when their children are born dead, blah 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 blah, a bunch of horrible, horrible stuff. Will market to their children bright and colorful things, and the parents will buy it, and then if they ever seek us out and find us, they will hunt us down, blah blah blah. We can never reveal this, blah blah blah, whatever. So this can be chalked up to quite a bunch of fiction, but if you really read through it, it becomes kind of disturbing if you do follow these things like Agenda 21, that quite in fact, shut up, Harley. In fact, that if they were discovered, there's the very real chance they've already been discovered. They don't care. Again, they've opened the floodgates. Half these people half of us are, more than half. Most of us are just, at this point, we're all just so damn distracted that we couldn't, they could be standing right there in front of us. People have done their absolute best to expose these people, their names, their addresses. They're not worried, but they at one point, it was their concern that they would be hunted down one by one. But what they did was they opened the floodgates for information. They just everything, disinformation, propaganda, fake bullcrap, and then they, have little bits of truth in between. And while my uncle says now that the game was to see who it clicks with, and then go ahead and put the FEMA camp stickers on their mailbox and take them out. But whatever, I don't think it's that quite simplified. I might have to break this video into several pieces, but it's already at 10 minutes, but I'm not done speaking, so this might be kind of a long video. I have quite a bit left to say. So they've opened the floodgates of information, things that people used to die for, people that have gone their whole lives hoarding these secrets, never telling even their families for fear, of their family's safety, and protecting their families by keeping these dark things inside. And now it is seemingly just common knowledge. So you have You have past generations that this was a shock to. They were, oh my goodness, and they would draw the lines, and they would, oh my goodness, these psychopaths are ruling the world. Oh my goodness, these ancient societies and secret societies have been surviving for thousands of years, and they are just there in every facet of our lives. You know, the owls are everywhere. You can see, you'll start to see certain, if you do follow this, rather you get some sort of enjoyment out of it. I'm not sure what my fascination is. I think when I first started to find it, I was a bit of an alarmist. My friends pointed out I fell into the same fearful trap of, oh my God, we're all gonna die. And then I started to realize that we're kind of useless, all dead to them. You know, we are. And a lot of people will fight back at this, oh, I'm not no damn slave. But for all intents and purposes, to these people, for these people, they look at us like slaves. Like hosts, if you will. It's very interesting that they would use the word host. They picked a word like a host, something that would, a parasite that would live within this body. But in Westworld, these were robots, androids. They picked the word host. It was very interesting. So yes, okay, they can host you a good time, whatever. But anyway, aside from that, so they look at us in this way. So we're not very useful to them, all dead. And after a while, I calmed down and realized that I didn't really want to make quite a big fuss, and that this is not something that we're just finding out. It's done. They have their pieces in place. They've been planning this game board for a long time, and a lot of people want to thrash back, and I have to warn you. I don't really like to warn too much, because ultimately it's futile effort. Excuse me, I might not use. I always mix up those words. I do have a learning disability, but anyhow. So I don't, again, I try not to warn people too much, because I do this more of a personal hobby. I just like to, I get these concepts in my head, and I just want to talk. I just want to point out some things, and I get enjoyment out of making these videos. I'm not sure it's appropriate for me to say I get enjoyment out of watching these things go down, but I will say that I tend to get excited when I see these symbols just everywhere. It's just in our face. It's in our pop culture. It's everywhere. They're not even, like I said, they open the floodgates. They do not care. It is in our face. They want it to be in our face, because, like I said, where I was going with this is, in these previous generations, this was a shock to them. This was not common knowledge. Now, for these, what do you call them, millennials? Excuse me. These kids grew up with this just everywhere. So for them, they don't blink an eye. It's just everywhere. They don't care. They're like Illuminati, ha ha ha, ha. Whatever, whatever you want to call it. It's a joke to them. It's laughable, because it is everywhere to them. This is no longer shocking. But fortunately for these 90s kids, or us 90s kids that had the whole future ahead of us, and then we were kind of in between two different generations, going from one age to another. But I read a few interesting things. Actually, I'm going to share something one of my friends shared that pertains to, I'm going to throw this up here, it pertains to what I'm trying to get at. But again, I'm going to do something I don't usually like to do. I'm going to warn people. If you thrash back too hard, and say what you will, you can say that I bent the knee, you can say that I'm a pussy, I gave in, and ultimately I kind of did. If you fear for your loved ones' lives, don't push back too hard. Just try to stay alive. And that a lot of people might really disagree with that, but I don't believe that this is something we can any longer just bludgeon to death. It is not something we can just attack head on. It is not possible. You will destroy your life. Many people have lost their whole lives, everything they've worked for, because they've discovered these things and they've approached it. I'm going to be sharing some things about what I say. And a lot of people say, hey, you're not supposed to give in to the fear, you're supposed to. No. Listen, once again, this is they are not, you know, these psychopaths that rule the world, they might be sick, but they are not stupid. They are very intelligent people, and they have thought out, calculated all of the possible moves and reactions. They know exactly how to screw our lives up. Just try to stay alive. Just love is the objective here. I'm not the greatest preacher of love. I have short patience. I'm not, you know, the greatest person to be talking about love. I can be a little abrasive sometimes, but I know that love is the answer. It sounds really cheesy and lame, but love is absolutely the answer. You have to just, I'll share another picture here if I find it. I used to, and this spoke to me a lot, something, would the picture say something to the effect of, your job is not to bring the world kicking and screaming in with you, but rather, you know, see who would listen, and just do your part. Play your narrative. Again, a lot of people might disagree with this, but who the hell cares what they think, you know? Somebody very dear to me once said, and when I was asking him, but why all these people have to go through this? Why is a soul born and only to be tortured to death? You know, speaking about these child sacrifices, why would these people, you know, be born into this only to, you know, starve to death or be, you know, beaten to death, or, you know, these, or, you know, maybe speaking about war, these children in Syria, you know, that have their whole lives ahead of them, and all of a sudden bombs are falling from the sky and their whole world is destroyed, you know, their whole world. Can you imagine being a child and you don't know anything about anything, anyway, I can't talk about that, it's gonna get me crying. And I would start crying and say, why does it happen? And I couldn't understand. And somebody very dear to me told me that they're soul contracts, and again, it's subjective if you want to think about it this way. I'm actually quite often contradict myself because I say I have atheist tendencies, but then I find myself thinking about very spiritual concepts like these soul contracts. We choose to come here, and somebody say, well, you know, I didn't know, my mom or grandmother, whoever, you know, somebody, your dear loved one may not have, you might feel like they didn't choose to get cancer and die, but you know, I can't say whether they did or not, but sometimes I don't know how else to think about it. Maybe, of course, not just maybe, but of course I'm still ignorant. We're all still ignorant and not growing. I no longer want to think that I know how it is, because I don't. I've come to find that, you know, when you're wrong enough times, you start to realize, you leave a little room to be wrong so that you know that you can correct. So again, I could be wrong about all this, but let me get to it. So my warning is the same as Negan told us. You know, don't mess with stuff too much. Don't do your best just to stay alive, because I have these dreams, and I'll have separate videos for those. I'll have dream videos and storytime videos, but I have these dreams, and like a lot of people do, and it lines up right along with the depopulation agenda. I'm afraid a lot of people are going to die, and it's a very morbid thing to think. I may not make it, my loved ones may not make it, you know, God forbid, again, I don't want to use those words lightly, but I'm sorry, I just had a moment of silence, and I'm not sure why, but I just have this feeling like what I want to tell you, the message that I want to tell you, laid over all of this other pop culture nonsense, is just stay alive. You are more important to humanity, to Earth, alive, than you are dead. Never minding all this enslavement and all this nonsense. We are not going to be able to change this from the outside. It has to be done from the inside. If you are against all this New World Order stuff, and you're like, oh, you're pro New World Order, hey, whatever. You might just blame it on the fact that I'm O-negative, or you might just hear what I have to say and listen, that it has to be done. If you want any sort of change to affect, it has to be done from the inside, much like ourselves. We have to change ourselves. I had to learn that any change that I wanted to see in the world, I had to start with myself. I'm still not done. I'm far from being done. But, you know, let's just stay alive and see where this goes, and try to do what, you know, every action at a time. You know, love just try to, you know, just do what you can. Help out a neighbor. You know, give a homeless man something to eat. Ask somebody how they're doing. Smile at somebody. Try to choose to be more patient, like I have to be. So that's my message, is this is not going to be handled like that, you know. This has been going on for a long time. They're prepared for backlash, and I don't think it will be helpful for more people to die than is necessary. Plenty of people are already so very willing to die voluntarily, and that's really, in a sort of a way, that's their magic. Is they don't want to kill you by their hand necessarily. They want you to kill yourselves. They want you to eat what you will, do what you will, and that's a lot of people have said, you know, do what you will, and people say, how could you say that, you know, with all the people that do such horrible things? Because, you know, those people are going to do horrible things. They're going to do what they will, and then people are going to do what they will to counteract that. If somebody harms somebody else's family, then somebody is going to react and take, you know, maybe take justice in their own hands. So I used to wonder about that concept, you know, how could I believe, oh, do what you will, that, you know, that could go so bad so fast, but it can also be counteracted just as equally, you know. You can, anyway. So Westworld, the narratives. I had noticed, this is going to be a long video, I had noticed the pale white horse, as I'm sure everybody did. This is not new. So you have this pale horse appear, and it's a beautiful, beautiful song, beautiful intro. We all loved it. And what was interesting, and I'm sure plenty of videos have covered this before, is that these horsemen that they, I suppose if you wanted to go throughout the pop culture and find every single horseman and see how far they are lined up, we are at the pale horse stage. But then again, it's so jumbled up. I mean, you had the pale horse on Deftones CD album, so it's not like it's in order or anything. I think they just throw stuff out sometimes. But again, you had Black Horse stuff on with all that Katy Perry stuff or whatever. So getting back to Westworld, you have this pale horse that appears, and they're very careful to make sure to show you that all the, again, you know, obviously the idea of it is that they're engineered, that they're created, that these hosts are created. But they show this horse before it's being ridden on. They show the horse. Oh, I didn't think of that. I just thought of something else. Who was riding on the horse and what that could have meant. But anyway, they show the horse designed, engineered, and it dawns on me that, not like I'm special, I'm sure it dawned on everybody at that point, that the horse was engineered. This pale horse is engineered. So if you're familiar with, like most people are, again, nothing special, but not to say that the book isn't special, but A Pale Horse, Behold a Pale Horse by Milton William Cooper. If you're interested, please go check out that book. It has quite a lot, not just about depopulation agenda, but military. I believe he was a former military man, and he speaks quite a bit about many different things, not just depopulation agenda, but it's a very great book. I have to reread it, like many things. So the Four Horsemen, you know, look at this pale horse. It's engineered. The depopulation agenda is engineered. The Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse is engineered. This apocalypse, again, the definition of apocalypse, what was it? Unveiling of truth or something? I'll go look that up after. But let's just take it for what most people look at it as. So most people think of apocalypse, they think, oh, doomsday, end times. All right, so let's go with that, end times. All these religious people with their heads up their ass. So, but again, like many of us have our head up our ass. I am no different. So I don't want it to come off too arrogant here, but let's go with the end times concept, like all these religious people have in their heads. Some of these end time videos are actually very good. I like to watch them myself, but it's engineered. This is not, though many things in this world are beautiful and they may have some sort of, I don't know, divine beauty. I'm just going to go out and say some natural, divine, godly beauty, whatever. A lot of things in this world do. They have a natural beauty to them. This end times is not natural. It is not some delivered end times by your God. It's not being brought to you by some divine hand. They're engineering it. This is self-fulfilling prophecy. We have been reading these end times books for hundreds and hundreds of years, hundreds of thousands, whatever. Depends on how far back you want to go, which conspiracy you want to believe in. The phantom time, the altered timeline, humans have been on planet Earth for a lot longer than we thought, whatever. So we've been reading these books, these end times, for quite a long time, and a lot of people have it in our head like this is being dished out by some divine God. Like I don't know. Let's go with the most extreme route here. Nobody really cares about making fun of West Baptist Borough Church, or whatever the hell they're called. So let's go with them. So the West Bapto. I can't even say the name right. So these people are very serious. I mean, they really believe. They go out and protest poor families' funerals. They say some absolutely horrible things about people's sexuality, saying that people deserve to have their loved ones die. And what? Now that you're spreading darkness in direct contradiction to your beliefs. You think you're doing God's work. There is no God dishing out these end times. These are our masters, our very human, very equal masters. The only difference, the only thing that gives them that word, masters, and I like to use that word because I'm a space dog. I am a submissive personality. I have no problem with using the word masters. Some people might get offended. Careful, trigger warning. So our masters, again, no shame, they are not superior by any other means than financially. They have stolen and raped and pillaged to get where they are. Their families have passed it down and kept it very tightly knitted in the family so that they can walk on you and your children and our grandchildren's bloodlines. So these masters are engineering this end times. We can change it from the inside, and I think it's important to realize that if it is not coming from some paranormal place in the world, that it can be altered, it can be affected, it can be changed. I don't think it can be stopped. I believe that even though it's engineered, all things are, in a way, sort of a Darwinism, an evolution. It's a shedding. This was going to happen one way or another. Even if we managed to pretty much stop it, something else would have taken its place. This is a shedding of the skin. You understand? We have to come into some sort of new age. We have to have some sort of change. Though the waters are eroding, the stones of our history. These are the waters of time. The waters of time. It sounds retarded. Shut up, Harley. So it really is, in some sort of a way, we're going to kind of rise out of the ashes a different sort of people. And life does not wait for any man. Time does not wait for any man. So if we think about this in a way that it's engineered, and if this is something you're interested in combating, again, I would say be careful and just kind of do it in a way where it's something that you do slowly, step by step. Most importantly, from the inside out. I had to learn that my father used to say, attacking anything with a sledgehammer is not, people aren't always going to listen when you're, so anyway, I'm losing train of thought, and I have not even gotten to the things that I want to say. So, make small decisions into big decisions, I guess. All the many little details will make up a whole eventually. I like to think of ourselves like cells. We're all cells of this one body, and sometimes we become confused and we turn into cancer within the body, and we fight each other, and these cells don't even realize that we're hurting our own body. We have to communicate properly within the body. You know, I like, sometimes when I'm driving, I feel like we are these little blood platelets going through, you know, the roads are the veins. We're all moving so fast on this planet. This planet has become alive with us. The planet is alive to begin with. Sometimes I think the sun is alive. Anyway, it's not relevant. Make decisions from within. Choose to eat a little healthier. Quit smoking cigarettes. Drink a little less. Decide to spend a little more time in the sun. Get your vitamin D. Have some quiet time. You know, if this is something you're against, if you're against these psychopaths and this New World Order, like I said, I think there will be some sort of New World regardless, but if you are against the way it is occurring, of course, many people are against all of these genocides that have happened throughout the ages. It's just terrible. It's mortifying to think about once you actually see what they have done. If this is something, then start at home, and everything else will follow. Because my father used to also say, the squeaky wheel gets the oil. Well, that's true, but it's not always, you know, they don't always, when we're too loud, they will hear us. And, you know, these people have a way of reaching you without even touching you. I think in a way they don't even know they're doing it. Their system is so sophisticated and advanced. Their magic is so advanced. You know, it's, anybody ever see, what was it, Thomas Strange? What was that? Let me see. Brings a thought to mind, since we're talking about all this symbology and pop culture. That there was these things that they said what was it? Not Thomas Strange. Strange Thomas, excuse me. Strange Thomas, I believe that was, let me be sure. Odd Thomas, excuse me, Odd Thomas. So you had Odd Thomas, and these things, these demonic creatures, they said if you could see them, they would attack you. Now that stood out to me. If you can see them, they will attack you. Don't try too hard to wave your hands around and say you can see them. If this is something you want to combat, maybe it is better to take their own game. You know, they say now this is the new phase is deceit, and maybe we should be, they are deceiving us, and maybe we should be deceiving them. Maybe we should be quieter about this and just not as worried. Don't fear it. I mean, really, what's the point? Just do your best to protect yours. There's already so much grief. I don't think we've seen anything yet. I believe that we have much to come. So anyway, Odd Thomas, was really significant, I felt. Had a lot of symbology. So back to Westworld, you have this pale horse that's engineered. They've engineered one of their horsemen. And what was the pale horse? Was it just death? You had famine, plague. Oh man. Pale horse was, it was just death. And I looked, and behold, an ashen horse, he who sat on it, the name Death, and Hades was followed with him. Authority was given to them over a fourth of the earth, to kill with a sword, with famine, and with pestilence, and by the wild beasts of the earth. Yes, that's all very disturbing. Now this is ritual to them. These occult-like elites, these rich families that seemingly rule the world, yeah, they practice quite a bit of ritual, and for them to carry out these things, for you to believe, to have such belief, to have them in your minds gives them power. To have you believe that they are gods, just like the old gods, to have these aliens Again, I don't even believe that 100%, but again, you know, it could be Project Bluebeam. But again, let's just go with the alien thing anyway. So to have these aliens come down and pretend they are gods, to have us believe it is no different. These people want us to believe that there is some God dishing out some sort of holy judgment or some sort of end times on the earth, when in fact they are engineering it because it is ritual to them. They have to be on time, and they believe that they will lose magic, and they will sink if they don't do this on time. You know? So they either use the magic or it uses them. So you have this pale horse that's engineered. I've already spoken about Behold a Pale Horse by Milton William Cooper. And now I want to say something really quick that I noticed before I watched Westworld. Also, I'm going to be branching off more on this. This is at 35 minutes, so I might break it into two. But I'm going to try to take out various clips and screenshots from these that I noticed that just got my brain whirling and all sorts of concepts. So in Walking Dead, Season 6, Episode 16, what I hadn't noticed as I was rewatching this, my intention was to get to the Negan part where he makes a very blatant New World Order statement. It was very chilling, actually. I think all the conspiracy theorists got straight to the internet after this. So on my way to find Negan's very famous New World Order speech that I'm late on, it opens with Morgan, and he's walking up to, wouldn't you know, a white horse. I said, God damn it, I missed that. I must have thought it at the time and forgot to write it down. So he makes sure to stop in front of the sign. He doesn't just walk by the sign. We know nothing, you know, nothing is just by happenstance. They strategically plan all this. It's all very carefully. Obviously, it's scripted. Excuse me. So Morgan, he stops in front of the sign. Are you alive? Are you truly alive? Think about this. Think about it. Say it to yourself. Are you alive? Say it to somebody next to you. Are you alive? Now think of it in the way of the Westworld. Now, everything keeps going back and forth. It kind of freaks me out a little bit, but in an exciting sort of way. I get excited little chills when I make these connections. Now, it just seems like it's all time together. He said, "Are you alive?" And now this was Walking Dead, and now we have this new show called Westworld, and the whole concept is who's alive in this, who's really a real human, and man, it's all ties nice. So, are you really alive, or are you just the Walking Dead? Are you just background people? Are you just existing there to die for them? Are you going to be their depopulation? Who's to say, right? We could make all the right decisions. You could be the perfect vegan, perfectly healthy, and you could just get run over by accident. A plane could fall on you. Who's to say? So there's so many things that I could say, and I'm going to focus on. I'm going to end with, now Negan says, I feel some sort of way about Negan, as we all do. You know, you love him and hate him. Negan is a sexy man. He's an asshole. He killed Glenn. Can't get over Glenn, man. So very emotional. Tearjerker right there. The Winchester daddy. Yeah. Anyway, I'm done. So Negan says, no matter what you do, don't mess with the New World Order. The New World Order is this, and it's really very simple. So even if you're stupid, which you very well may be, and they're speaking to you almost like they know you have been dumbed down, like we have been dumbed down, like we have been distracted, poisoned. Every facet of our life, every area of our life, carefully planned so that we are just dumb, monkeys to them, that we are just labor to the, just slaves. They speak in this as if they know. Now listen up. You might be dumb, but you can understand this much. Don't mess with us. And they're not entirely wrong. You know, you might want to lash back. You might want to say, well, why would you listen to them? Again, they are not stupid, and they will not hesitate to kill you. Don't be stupid. Prove them wrong. If they believe that you're stupid and that you will just be background people and you will just be another body on the floor, prove them wrong. Not by going straight up in their face, but by staying alive. You know, when it's darkest, you have to shine brighter. We need more love in this world. We don't need more destruction. Even if you want to destroy the New World Order, it's already here. We need love. We need a lot of love. We have a serious debt in the love department. We have a serious deficit in the love department, excuse me. So he says, and it's really quite simple, so even if you're stupid, which you very well may be, I know I am, you can understand this. You ready? He says, are you ready? Because they want you to get ready. They want you to fight back. Here it goes. Pay attention. Are you listening? We want half your shit. And I sum that up a little bit, but they want half. They want our stuff. They want... Now, some time ago, when the NDAA was passed, the new National Defense Act, where you can be detained without trial or charge, and damn near anybody can be considered a terrorist now, so it's a very fine line to walk. They also passed something, if I could find it, I will, you can look it up. If I read somewhere, if you have, you know, stores and hoarders, it always got me, these preppers are so eager to get on TV and share their stock. They want to show you right where they keep everything. They want to show you where their food is and where their guns are. Why is this? Why is this the new thing? Oh, we love the prepper TV shows. Oh yeah, we want to publicize that. Why were they so eager to really make you want to show everybody how well you're doing, how much you've stocked away? I'm sure you could figure out by now that it wasn't to make them famous or any sort of way. They didn't give a shit about these people. And why would these people go along with that? Hey, I heard you're a prepper. You want to be on TV? No. I heard something to the effect of, no, what I was saying before was that something, if you have over a week's worth of food, the National Guard can come in and they can just take it. I believe something like that may be possible. It may happen when they do these martial law things. You know, they could. I mean, thank goodness, you know, we have individuals. The human spirit will prevail. You know, you have individuals can be kind, but in mass, when parts of Connecticut got shut down. When that guy was hiding from false flag Boston bombings and stuff, they were doing their test runs for martial law, and they were shutting down some areas. You know, they had some people that were just absolutely horrible to each other, but I remember seeing this one picture where this man brought some milk to this mother and her children. Again, don't fear, because humans individually are compassionate creatures. You never know how people might react to this. Some people do care. So again, every small action of love. Excuse me. So they want half our stuff. So if you have a store in your house of stuff, don't go flaunting it around. They will take half and probably more. They know damn well they want to destroy large portions of the earth. They don't care who they take what from. They just don't care. So it's not cool to be a prepper. It's not some fancy thing. It's an experiment, and it's a practice. You're having an experience as a human, and you're trying the best you can to protect your family. You don't need to tell people what you have hidden. That's stupid. So try to be a little more deceitful, you know? If you know, if you care about your neighbor, maybe keep an extra jar of peanut butter for them. Don't tell them you fucking have it. It may not be the most loving thing to do. Again, I contradict myself. You know, being deceitful is not a positive thing, but it is sometimes necessary for survival. I had a hard time understanding these things growing up. I had to learn how to be selfish. I grew up very naive, very gullible, very loving, and I wanted to just give myself to the whole world, where I realized there wasn't enough of myself to give, and they will eat me alive. They will do the same to you. You don't have enough to give to everybody. You have to buckle down, and you have to realize sometimes you have to put on a face. You have to wear different faces. You have to run different programs. You have to work within the New World Order, inside of it, from the inside out, much like yourself, much like your body, much like we are cells within this whole. Work from inside out, and then work from inside out. So they want half our stuff. So anyway, I may branch off on this more later, but I'm going to wrap it up. I think that I made a few points, and there's so many more that just get my brain stirring, and I really enjoy these talks. So thank you for listening to me. They're very therapeutic for me. I make these connections, and these patterns, they fly around in my mind, and it just might be nonsense and babble from a mentally ill girl with ADHD and bipolar. You know, occasionally my trauma, my PTSD might be triggered. I might be a little bit strange, but I'll try not to say dumb stuff like, hey, let's get weird. Sorry about that. But ultimately, it most likely will always be weird. I hope you enjoyed. Again, thank you very much. If you did, please like this video. I take my time out of my day to do these. I do what I can. And subscribe. Absolutely love you to death, since we're talking about the death horse, the pale horse. I'll love you to death if you hit that notification alarm little button thing that pops up on your phone when I upload a video. And thank you very much. It's the end of the year. Maybe if we're lucky, I'll be able to roll out a conclusion for the year, a kind of compilation video of the year. Maybe not. I'm still talking. Shut up, Arlie. Okay, bye.